I don't think you guys should hear any of that, could ya? Oh, it's too funny. So again, I want to welcome you to the show. This is Grow Wealthy Grooming, a weekly show about how to keep money that you earn in the grooming industry, as well as anything that is going on currently. My name is River Lee. For those of you guys that don't know, I am the founder of the Savvy Groomer. I've been a pet groomer for many, many years. I've owned multiple pet grooming businesses. Whoop, see? Should have double checked how that works. So anyway, guys, I'm looking forward to working with you today. So let's talk about the very uncomfortable subject, as many of us are dealing with these tragic situations between COVID-19 and just being forced to be shut by the government. There are a lot of us right now who are not being shut by the government. Now, if you are the kind of person that can afford to close, then you know what to do. You know, we're not talking about people that are choosing to stay open because they can. We're talking about people that are choosing to not close because they simply cannot afford to close, and how to deal with the emotional, morality, and financial situation that is going on with them emotionally. So, you know, I just want to let people know that this is basically just a strategy for tragedy. And it's all about if I can't afford to close. Again, if you are not one of those people, if you are perfectly financially set and you can afford to close and sit home, then there's nothing wrong with that. And I am very, very glad that you are that person. For those of you guys that are not, you know, this is the conversation for them. And for those of you guys that want to kind of have a moral high ground without sounding really... Listen, as somebody who lived in their car pregnant and then opened up a grooming salon and then had to live in a grooming salon illegally for 6 months with a brand new baby, I know how easy it is to wag our finger at people that are doing quote unquote immoral things and doing things that harm other people. But we need to be real here. People that are starving, that could potentially, honestly, could potentially starve. People that could honestly lose their home. People that lose everything. We need to have real conversations with them and not just tut them. You know, not everyone is in a good financial standpoint. If this had happened when my son was a year old, I would not have been okay. I would have lost everything. I would have lost my car, my house. Well, at that time I didn't have a house. I had an apartment. I would have lost my apartment. I would have lost my business. I would have lost everything and everything I had worked hard for. So that's where I'm going to come from. It is a quiet sense of understanding and a quiet sense of let's have a real heart-to-heart based on your fears, not based on trying to shame you. Because if you're honestly on the brink of poverty and losing everything, the last thing you're thinking about is other people. And that's okay. You know, when you are in that scary position, you do need to think about you and your family, because potentially infecting somebody else, again, I'm not a doctor, don't pretend to be a doctor, blah, blah, blah. What I am talking about is people that, you know, live in areas that are not at high risk infection, people that don't go to people who are high risk infection, things like that. You have to take care of your family. So, and I'm not talking about people that are staying open if their areas are closed. If your area is closed, then you need to close. If you are being told to close, you need to close. The people I am talking to are people that are in an area that have not been shut down yet. And we're going to talk about if you cannot afford to close, even though you may feel morally obligated to close, or I'm sure as you see in the grooming industry, everyone is freaking out and telling you you're a bad person and a piece of shit if you don't close. So the first thing I want to ask you is, why can't you afford to close? Is this a matter of your personal finances not being in a situation that you have any savings and you're going to be able to financially close? That's an important question, because if your finances, your personal finance, are not under control, then it's not going to really matter what you do. Hi, Turquoise Laura, I just saw you. Say hi. So if you were working for somebody else, now I'm not talking about if you're a business owner, but if you're working for somebody else and you're in the same situation, at least you could file for unemployment. Some areas you can file for unemployment, but not everywhere. That said, if your personal finances are not under control, again, I want to be here for you guys. I have our Budget 101, which is a basic walkthrough budget, and that is a free resource. It is in the description down below. I am creating a new form for that to make it a little bit more streamlined because we had a lot of people sign up for it. And because they had a lot of people sign up for it, a lot of the emails got jostled. So I just updated that. So I'm going to put that in the description below, which is a free resource. The Budget 101 walks you through a very basic personal budget. Now, if you want more help, we are going to be doing a longer form personal finance release. So personal finance release is a 12-week online course teaching you how to get your personal finances under control. What we're going to do is actually condense that down from 12 weeks to 4 weeks. We may even be able to do it in 3 weeks. What I will do is I will see what the group wants to do, and I will see if everybody wants to do it in 3 weeks, which would be 4 different get-togethers. But I honestly think 3 is the most that people can do. I understand that a lot of you guys are pretty ambitious and you're at home and you're ready to rock and roll. But I think being able to do that, and I will be offering Personal Finance Leads, which is normally a $600 course, that will be at 50% off at $300. And I want to be able to offer that to people because I know you guys are really struggling with your personal finance, and that is a big problem. A lot of people simply cannot close because they don't know how much they need to earn when they're home. They don't know how much debt they have. They're not sure which payments they do. And in this Personal Finance Unleashed, we're going to also talk strategies on how to maybe talk to the banks about either getting a lower interest rate or doing anything like that to help themselves. So one reason may be your personal finance. Another reason may be you don't have an emergency fund for your personal or your business. Now, this may seem very simple. And in Personal Finance Unleashed, I teach you guys, if you are a self-employed groomer or a business owner, you need to have 6 months to a year's worth of personal expenses aside and 6 months to a year worth of business expenses aside. And you may be like, that's a lot of money. Yes, it is. But now you can see in this instance why it's so important to have all of that money set aside. Because right now, if you had 6 months or a year's worth of money in the bank for your business and 6 months to a year worth of money in the bank for your personal, you would be sitting really pretty, and no more than has ever been, you would feel comfortable. You'd be like, this is no big deal. I'm ready to rock and roll. You'd be very comfortable. And a lot of you guys aren't comfortable because you don't have any savings. And again, some of that is because you don't have any personal money, as in when you're looking at your personal finance, that's kind of a mess. And you've been using your business as your personal piggy bank. And for some of you guys, you may not be sure your profitability. And that brings us to number 3. Are you actually profitable? Is your business actually profitable? I did a recent walkthrough with a client, a potential business client, and we figured out she was earning very little money per employee. And things like that happen all the time. They happen all the time. And the reason they happen all the time is because a lot of you guys are just doing the basic concepts of business, but you're not getting down to the nitty gritty of your business. And if you can't afford to close, a lot of that may be an opportunity for you to actually go through your business to see if you're profitable. If having these employees at 50%, which I do not suggest, is actually costing you money versus earning you money. Or if the amount of money that you're having your employees cost you is actually earning you enough money for the risk and liability. A lot of you guys that are not sure if you should close or not because of money, a lot of it is because we don't know how long we're going to be out of work. Now, I am in Rhode Island, which is very close to Boston and not terribly far from New York. It's getting very scary here. Not so much as people getting sick. We don't have a lot of people getting sick, but what we do have is now mind you, I live in a 45-minute long state. So they've basically closed the Rhode Island border. And for someone like me who's grown up in a very small state, it's inconceivable to be stuck in the state. We have everything we've ever wanted, but I'm so used to being able to go over the border to Massachusetts to go get sushi, or be able to go down to Connecticut, just for a drive. And they're closing that. They're closing our beaches, which I know sounds really silly, but Rhode Island is we have a lot of coast. So being able to walk on the beach, being able to go into parks, you can very easily spread out. You're not going to be within 6 feet of anyone. And unfortunately, it's because of people choosing to do things like beach parties. But let's not go down that road. But we're really scared here. They're stopping people with out-of-state plates. And if they're passing through, they're allowed to go. But if they're staying here, they have to be on a mandatory 14-day quarantine. So that said, like for the most part, I've been open, but I haven't been forced to close. So this will probably be my last week open because most of my clients that, again, you guys know I have a very tight clients. They're all 4 weeks. They're all very regular clients. And I'm going to have just about every client in before then in tight comb cuts, or they've, if anyone needs anything, they're going to have it done. They're going to be okay because I don't know how long we're going to be closed. We could be closed to the end of April. Some places are saying till July. And honestly, I don't believe customers are at all going to brush their animals. I just don't. I think even if we teach them to, they're not going to. If they could have, they would have, but they won't. So why expect them to? So with that said, I think a lot of your fear, and by you, I mean the person who's sitting there saying, I can't afford to close. It's not that you're afraid that you're not going to be able to get back on your feet. I think a lot of your fear stems from, are we going to be closed till April? Are we going to be closed till the end of May? Are we going to be closed till July? And the answer is the unknown is the unknown. All you can do is figure out your personal finance and your business finance and expertly negotiate between your landlord and your business and make sure your business is actually profitable. Because this may be the realization that you've been running a job, not a business. And if you've been running a job and there's no money in your business, and by that I mean, are you earning more, significantly more, in your grooming business than you would have if you had a job? And a lot of you guys are like, yes, I would. But when you actually do the math, when you figure out the amount of hours you spend, a lot of times you guys are actually making closer to minimum wage. And that's only if you're physically doing the job. The business should be earning money for you, whether or not you're working. And that is a big shift in mindset. And I know it's really dark. I'm just looking now. I got to put my, there we go. See? So to lean back a little bit more. And I know these are dark times. And I'm just trying to give you guys some strategies for dealing with this tragedy and all of this stress. And I want to be here for you guys. I want you to feel comfortable. If you are struggling to be open and trying to decide, should I stay open? Should I close? I think the first thing you have to ask yourself, besides, is it your personal finance? Besides, is your business profitable? Is what is it that you're the most afraid of? When you say, I can't afford to close, because at some point you will have to close. So what is it that you're afraid of? Is it afraid of failure? Is it afraid you're going to lose everything? What is it that you're currently afraid of? And I think hashing all of that out and really thinking about that will allow you to make some more rational, honest decisions in your personal life. We are going to have a major change in the way we do things in this industry, in our lives. I mean, to pretend like we're not going to have major change is very foolish. We are going to have major change, no matter how you slice it. So if we are going to have a situation where we are going to, our grooming business may have to charge more. People may have to pay more for our industry because we are going to have to earn enough money to set money aside. We just will, a lot of us that are paying, a lot of us that are charging bottom of the barrel rates, you have no savings because there's no meat on the bone in your business. So I don't want to keep going on and on about this because I think this is really difficult and I think this is really emotionally taxing for all of us. My main points for you is if you're saying you can't afford to close, I'm not going to say, stay home, you'll save one life, because I know right now you're more worried about losing your home. You're more worried about losing your business. You're more worried about, if I lose this business, I'm worried about my employees. I'm worried about, what are you going to do for a job? A lot of us have built businesses around either our personal brand or around our personal limitations. So, like, I groom cats. All I do is groom cats in a van. If I lost my van, there isn't a business in my area that only does cats. I could definitely go work for a business that only does cats, but I would have to move. And that's a big decision for myself, for my son. All of these things create a snowball effect. And there are some of us who are going to have to lose our home. There are some of us who are going to lose our cars, our vans, that are going to lose our businesses. A lot of us are going to lose potentially our lives. This is a catastrophic event. So when you say you can't afford to close, I want you to stop and think about, why is it? There are free resources here down below. You can find more free resources in my Facebook group, which is Finances for the Grooming Industry. I will get together more of those things. And I want to invite you guys to come to more of those resources. I want you to be able to use the free resources I have, consider spending this time going through your business and all of those things. Hi, Shelly. Good to see you. And if there's ever a time to start going through and organizing everything and really looking at your profitability, now is the time. Now is the time to figure out what it is that you want to be doing, how you want to do it, and what the best thing is for you and your family. I understand if you choose to stay open, if you're not being forced to be shut down. What I will say is that doing things out of fear rarely bring you any benefit. Almost every one of the worst decisions of my life have always been made out of a fear of lack and a fear of failure. Very honestly. So I want to let you guys know that if you need any resources, I am here. I have books that you can read that'll help you. There are many, many resources, whether they are paid or free, to help you out. I will be available for some, virtual coffees for people that, maybe you want to consider some business coaching or some financial coaching. Those are all options. And again, I want to offer that to you guys because I think it's incredibly important for you guys to figure out what it is that is making you feel like you can't afford to close. And a lot of you guys know that when you close, you are closing the doors for good. And that's terrible. Not, some people that are telling you to close and saying that you're being immoral for staying open are in a position that they can afford to stay open. I'm sorry, they afford to be closed. They can afford to not work. A lot of them own hobby businesses and their spouse takes care of them. Or, maybe they're blessed enough that, they have somebody who can take care of them, or their cost of living where they live is small. I think it's interesting. We're going to possibly get a $2,500 stipend. I don't know about you guys. It doesn't pay a month of rent. It doesn't pay anything. That doesn't even cover my van payment. So in some places that is more than enough. In other places, it's just a drop in the bucket. So I don't want to keep rambling on this. I know this is a tough subject. If you guys have any questions, feel free to post them below and I'm happy to answer them. This is a tough subject and I am not here to judge you. I know my personal feelings and my personal feelings are very back and forth. One of them is I have elderly grandparents and I want them to be safe and I don't want anyone on the road and I want anyone to be infecting everyone else. And the other part of me feels like the longer we keep the economy at a standstill and everyone stays home, the harder it is to be able to get back up and make some more money. And that is the tough in between. It is so hard to know, am I killing people by working or am I choosing to financially commit suicide? And the answer may be both yes. So whichever you choose, I'm not here to judge you. I'm just here to support you in whatever decision you make. Some of us can afford to close And some of us will have to make the hard decision to close even if we can't afford it. And I am here to support you if you cannot afford to close and you have to anyway. Like I said, you have lots of free resources. If you need more free resources, I can help you guide you towards them. In the meantime, I just want to let you guys know you're not alone. And in a time of, they say quarantine, I mean, this is emotional and physical isolation. I just want to let you guys know I'm here. I'm not here to judge you. I'm very blunt, very honest, but I understand. I have been desperate and destitute. Living in a grooming salon illegally for 6 months taught me humility. And I will say that it was embarrassing and humbling, and it was illegal. And what was I supposed to do? And I know you're sitting here, well, everyone is telling you you're a bad person. And you're just sitting there going, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Have my kids live in my car with me and then lose my car and then be homeless in the middle of a pandemic? And then everyone's like, oh yeah, but they're, withholding, not going through evictions and this and that. Well, right now in Boston, they're having big problems where people are week to week or month to month. And guess what? If you're week to week or month to month, they can kick you out. So I'm here for those people that need me. And if you have enough money to be able to afford to close and you're perfectly comfortable, I'm also here for you. Let's start making a plan for when you are ready to get the ground running and be able to employ those groomers who are going to lose their businesses, because a lot of them are going to lose their business and they're going to need jobs. And I think it's a great opportunity to, if you own a grooming business that is doing really well, to be able to catch a lot of really talented groomers, because they're going to be ready to hit the ground running at their own place, because they're going to lose everything. So they're going to need a job. And if you want to start getting ready to build up your business for when this kickstarts, I can help you as well too. And there's plenty of opportunities either way. And getting through, that's the hard thing. I get it. I get how hard all of this is. And I don't want anyone to feel like they're a bad person because they have to make shit decisions during a shit time. This is all about survival. Okay, guys? I know this is so depressing, isn't it? Like, I know this whole series the next couple of weeks. So I want to remind you guys, you can do your Budget 101. It'll be down in the description below. That is a free resource for you to get a basics on how to do a budget, and with free budget forms that you can download. I will be doing an accelerated personal finance and unleash, which is all about getting your personal finances under control, learning how to do a budget, how to start saving, how to cut expenses, how to make sure budget expenses are what you need to have. And that will be half off for a very short period of time. So I will be doing that offer. And then I will be continuing to do these lives to help you guys. I don't know if I said the personal finance unleash is going to be accelerated. So instead of 12 weeks, we're going to bring it down to, I would say 4 weeks. So it'd be 3 sessions a week. And that will help us get through it much, much quicker. And hopefully by the time you guys get back to work, you've already gone through personal finance unleash. And I'm going to be here for you guys. So if you guys need anything, I'm here. I'm going to be in my Facebook group, Finances for the Grooming Industry. I will try to be doing more live. I will be done in the van at the end of this week. I am not yet officially closed, although I wouldn't be surprised if I'm going to be officially closed any day now. But I'm going to make sure that all of my clients are taken care of, anyone who needs me, and they're all going to be okay. Like I said, because we don't know if we're going to be closed till the end of April, till the end of May, or some people are saying July. So I feel better doing that. And that's my personal decision. And if people hate me for it, that's their choice. They can judge me. But, I think it's really hard to judge people if you're not putting yourself in their shoes. And I put my customers first. And if we are both as 2 consenting adults agreeing to potentially take that risk, that is between us. And that's between us. I'm in a van and a mobile, and that is my choice. And if people don't like it, well, then they can go suck an egg. All right, guys. I'm like, they can go suck an egg. Just in case if you never thought you could understand my thought process. Anyway, you can also call me Patient Zero. Why not? Anyway, guys, I want to, again, we got to go through our whole little thing. I'm supposed to be doing this. Remember to consider joining Personal Finance Unleashed, which is the online course, as I have the thing in the background. That's okay. Why not? I don't know what the heck I'm doing sometimes. Oh boy. What you gonna do? See, I try really hard to like make this look all professional, and sometimes I just don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, why is this not working the way I want it to? Consider joining our Savvy Groomer Grow Wealthy Grooming membership. It is still only currently $10 a month. This month we're going to be talking about onboarding clients in this group, which is really fun. Last month we talked about difficult clients, and the month before that we had a talk about organizing our business, and both of those are great options if you want to get something done while you are quarantined. Lucky you guys. Anyway, I appreciate everyone being incredibly patient, and I'm just looking through, Wingtip 80, which I believe is Erin, is saying thank you for that. I'm not sure what you're thanking me for, but thank you for being here and always helping me out. And Shelly is saying survivors first. I think that's the main thing that I say is I want you guys to focus on surviving and getting through all of this, because you know what? Right now, we don't know what's going to happen. And I agree being alive is important. I agree having money at the end of this is important. And it's finding a personal balance between that. Obviously, if you are sick and you can't afford to close, do the right thing, close. But if you have no symptoms, if you are not in a household with anyone with symptoms, you have to personally make that decision. And I am, for one, am not going to tell anyone who is honestly destitute to close their business before they are mandated to do so. Obviously, when you're mandated, you have to close. Anyway, guys, as always, I appreciate that you are here and your continued help. Feel free to share. Feel free to subscribe. Once we get 1,000 people in here, we will be able to monetize it, which will help me a little bit, as a lot of this stuff is not cheap or free or easy. So I appreciate your time and patience and joining me here every week. Feel free to share. All right, guys, great seeing you and happy grooming.